Hello and welcome. I'm glad you're here. Wherever your day has taken you, you don't have to hold it so tightly now. Let your shoulders loosen, let your jaw unclench, and let your breathing become a little slower, a little deeper, as if you're settling into a warm, familiar place. Tonight, you can simply listen. You can let the words pass by like quiet lights reflected on wet pavement, steady and gentle. If your thoughts wander, that's perfectly fine. Just come back to the sound of the story whenever you feel like it. I hope you feel safe, comfortable, and pleasantly heavy with rest. And as you listen, I hope you can relax into the softest part of the evening, where nothing is urgent and everything is allowed to slow down. The rain has already finished when you arrive at the flower market, and that matters more than it seems. The air still holds the memory of water, cool and clean, as though the city has been rinsed and set down carefully to dry. Puddles sit in shallow places like small mirrors, reflecting the last pale pieces of evening sky. Under the awning, the world becomes quieter and closer. A sheltered little room made out of canvas and wooden posts, and the hush that follows a shower. You step in from the open street and feel the difference at once. The soft dimness, the way sound changes. The awning catches stray drips that still fall now and then from its edge. Each drop makes a tiny, unhurried tick against a bucket rim or a crate corner, a delicate metronome marking a slower time than the one you used earlier today. The ground beneath your shoes is damp, but not slick, more like cool stone that has been breathed on, a surface that holds a gentle chill. Someone has strung warm bulbs along a beam, and they glow like small, honey-colored moons. Their light doesn't reach far enough to make harsh shadows. It simply warms what it touches. The flower stalls cluster beneath them, tucked close together, as though they've decided to share their warmth. The market is near its end-of-day rhythm now, that winding down hour when the busiest hands have already left, and the remaining voices know instinctively how to soften. A few vendors are still here, moving with practiced care. Crates are shifted an inch at a time. Stems are lifted and inspected. Paper is folded and smoothed. There is no rush, but there is still purpose, the calm satisfaction of finishing what you started. You came here in the simplest way, with no dramatic reason. You just wanted flowers. Maybe you're a florist yourself, Or maybe you're the sort of person who knows how a bouquet can change the shape of a room, how it can make a kitchen counter feel like a small celebration, how it can make the air seem kinder. You're not in a hurry. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're here because you want to choose well, and because you like the quiet ritual of it. The first thing you notice, even before you look closely, is the smell. It comes in layers, like music that doesn't demand attention, but draws it anyway. There is wet greenery, fresh, slightly sharp, the scent of leaves after rain. There is the sweet powder of blossoms that have opened fully. There is earth, not muddy, but rich and damp, as if a garden bed has been turned and patted smooth. And beneath it all, faintly, there is paper. That dry, clean smell of brown craft sheets stacked in a neat pile, ready to become something presentable. Buckets sit everywhere, big metal and plastic ones filled with water that catches the string lights. Some buckets are cloudy with plant sap, others clear enough to show stems crossing like pale ladders. When someone nudges a bucket, the surface of the water trembles and makes a tiny slosh, a sound so gentle it feels like it belongs in a lullaby. A few petals float like small boats near the edges. Every so often, a leaf slips free and lands on the surface, and you watch it settle as if it has found its place. A voice murmurs nearby, two people speaking quietly, their words blurred by the awning and the evening. You can't make out what they're saying, and you don't need to. It's enough to hear the tone, friendly, calm, a shared softness that fits the hour. Another sound joins it, the snip of shears somewhere to your left, crisp and precise, like the punctuation in a gentle sentence. You move deeper under the shelter, and the stall you're drawn to feels a little like a small stage set for comfort. The vendor has arranged the flowers so that they don't look stiffly organized, but they are clearly cared for. Tulips rest in one cluster, their heads leaning toward one another as if in conversation. Ranunculus sit like layered cups of color. Freesia, small, delicate, and fragrant, stand on slender stems that seem to sway even when no one touches them. There are roses too, not the stiff, formal kind, but garden roses that look like they've been laughing. And there's eucalyptus spilling out of a bucket in silvery arcs, as relaxed as a sigh. The vendor looks up when you approach and offers a simple greeting, too loud, not too eager. Their face is soft with the same end-of-day gentleness that seems to have settled over everything here. They don't ask you what you want right away. They let you look. They understand, in that quiet way experienced people do, that choosing flowers is partly about letting your eyes and hands decide before your words catch up. You stand with your hands near your pockets, then let them fall to your sides. You lean in slightly, just enough to take in the details. The petals have tiny beads of water still clinging to them, left over from the rain or from a recent misting. The droplets catch the light and make the flowers seem freshly awake. Some blooms have small imperfections, one petal slightly creased, a leaf with a tiny tear. But those small flaws only make them more real. They look like flowers that have lived a little, not ones that have been kept too perfect to touch. You reach toward a bunch of tulips, pale pink, with edges just a shade lighter, like the sky when the sun is almost gone. Your fingertips brush the stems, smooth and cool. Tulips always feel a little alive in the hand, their stems firm but flexible. You lift one bunch slightly out of the bucket, and water drips back with a soft patter. A single droplet slides down your finger, cold and clean. The vendor nods as if to say, yes, those are good, but they don't push you. They just turn slightly and straighten a wrap of paper that has shifted. Behind them, another bucket holds something darker, deep purple irises, their petals folded like velvet. You breathe in again, and the scent changes. The irises carry something more mysterious, a darker sweetness that feels like evening itself. You imagine the bouquet you might make, not too big, not too structured. Something that looks like it was gathered thoughtfully, as if you walked through a garden and chose what felt right. Something that will sit in a glass vase and make the room feel quiet and cared for. You pick up the tulips again, then set them back gently, letting the stems slide into the water. They settle with a faint clink against the bucket side. You glance at ranunculus, soft peach, cream, a few in a muted coral. Ranunculus always look like they've been made of layers of tissue paper, each petal cupping the next. They have a tenderness that makes you slow down. You choose 3 stems of pale peach ranunculus and hold them up. They are lighter than you expect, and their heads bob slightly, as if acknowledging you. The vendor reaches for a small piece of twine, then pauses. "Take your time," they say quietly, and their voice matches the market's gentle hum. You add a few sprigs of freesia, pale yellow. The scent rises immediately fresh and sweet, like clean laundry dried in spring air, like sunlight that has learned to be soft. The fragrance doesn't shout, it drifts. You can imagine it lingering in a hallway, greeting you as you pass by without demanding your attention. From the side bucket, you choose 2 irises, deep purple, almost blue in the shadows. Their petals curl and unfold in a way that feels deliberate and elegant. They will give the bouquet a little depth, a small anchor of color, like twilight among pastel clouds. Now you consider greenery. The eucalyptus is tempting, with its cool scent and rounded leaves that catch light along their edges. You slide a few stems free, and the leaves release a clean, medicinal freshness, like walking through a grove, like opening a window after a long day. You add a bit of ruscus too, something glossy and structured to give the bouquet a gentle framework. With your arms full, you step back a fraction, holding everything together loosely. It already looks pleasing, but you know the difference between a handful of stems and a bouquet that feels finished. The details matter, the angle of the blooms, the balance of weight, the way one color leads to another. You shift the ranunculus so their faces turn slightly outward. You tuck the irises in a little deeper so they peek through rather than dominate. You let the freesia arc lightly, adding a sense of movement. You adjust the eucalyptus so the leaves fan out and soften the edges. The vendor watches with a quiet approval that feels like a warm cup offered without ceremony. They place a small wooden block on the counter, scarred with use, and set a pair of floral shears beside it. The shears are clean and sharp, the handles worn smooth by many hands. "Would you like to trim here?" they ask. You nod, and as you set the stems down, you feel the simple comfort of being allowed to work slowly. You gather the stems together in your hand, holding them near the bottom, and lift them to measure. The ends are uneven from the buckets, and you want them fresh, cleanly cut, ready to drink. You take the shears. The metal is cool against your fingers. You select the longest stem first and snip it at an angle. The sound is crisp but not harsh, a clean little cut that feels satisfying. A drop of water leaps from the stem end as it falls. You place the trimmed piece aside, and it lands softly on the damp ground near the block. One by one, you trim. Angle cut, slight adjustment, another snip. You can feel your mind settling into the rhythm. The market's murmurs fade into a background hush. The string lights glow steadily above you. The smell of freesia rises again each time you move the stems. The eucalyptus releases its scent when you brush its leaves, and it feels like breathing in clarity. When you finish trimming, you gather the stems again and check the length. Balanced, not too tall, comfortable for a vase. You strip a few leaves from the lower part of the stems, just enough so nothing will sit below the water line and cloud it too quickly. The leaves come away with a gentle pull, and the green scent intensifies briefly, then softens. Nearby, a woman laughs quietly just once, a small burst of warmth, and then her voice drops again into a murmur. Someone else says goodbye to a vendor in a tone that suggests familiarity, the kind that builds when you see each other in small moments, week after week. A crate scrapes lightly as it's pulled closer. Water sloshes in a bucket when a vendor lifts a heavy bunch of lilies. The market is full of tiny sounds that don't interrupt the calm, they contribute to it. You lift your bouquet again and hold it at arm's length to see it as a whole. The colors feel like spring evening after rain. Gentle pink, soft peach, pale yellow, and deep twilight purple. The greenery frames it like a quiet promise. It looks like something you could set on a bedside table, something that would look lovely even in the dimmest light. The vendor reaches for brown paper, thick, matte, slightly crinkled from being folded and unfolded so many times. They spread it on the counter with a soft rustle. The sound is comforting, like turning the page of a book you already trust. They place a sheet of thinner tissue on top light cream, almost translucent, and you watch how the colors of the flowers glow faintly through it when the bouquet rests there. Do you want it wrapped simple? The vendor asks. Their voice is low, like they don't want to startle the flowers. Yes, you say. Simple is perfect. You help by holding the bouquet steady while they fold one corner of paper up and around the stems. The paper bends and creases under their hands the edges neatly, creating a pocket that holds the stems without squeezing them. The tissue adds softness, preventing the paper from rubbing against delicate petals. As they work, you notice the small things, the way their fingers pause to adjust a bloom that might get pressed, the way they leave a little space for the ranunculus heads to sit comfortably, the way they keep the freesia from being trapped, allowing it to arc outward naturally. It feels like watching someone make a bed with care, an everyday task done with gentle attention. They tie the bundle with twine, wrapping it twice and pulling it snug, not tight. The knot is simple. The ends of the twine hang like small tails. The bouquet looks finished now, but not overdone. It looks like it belongs in hands, not behind glass. You breathe in once more, and the scents mingle. Freesia's sweetness, eucalyptus's clean edge, the faint, cool smell of wet stems and bucket water, the earthy note from damp leaves. It all blends into something that feels restorative, like walking slowly through a greenhouse after the sprinklers have turned off. The vendor offers the bouquet to you, and you take it carefully, feeling the slight chill of the stems through the paper. The weight is satisfying, real, a small, tangible piece of calm. Anything else? They ask. You glance around, not because you need more, but because looking feels good. The remaining stalls glow under the awning like little islands. At one, someone is stacking unsold chrysanthemums into a crate, their hands moving slowly, not sad, just practical. At another, a young man is pouring water from a jug into a bucket, and the stream makes a soft, steady sound. The water level rises, and the flowers lift slightly, buoyed. The market seems to breathe. You notice a bucket of tiny white flowers, waxflower perhaps, or something similar, each blossom small and star-shaped, scattered along thin stems. They look like little points of light. You hesitate, then point. Just a few of those, you say. For texture, the vendor nods and selects several stems with care. They tuck them into the bouquet so the tiny flowers peek out between the larger blooms. Immediately, the arrangement feels a touch more airy, as though it has more room to breathe. The small white stars soften the transitions between colors, making everything feel more cohesive. There, the vendor murmurs, pleased. That's lovely. You smile, and it's easy. It feels like your face remembers how to be soft, while they adjust the paper slightly to accommodate the new stems. You find yourself noticing the way evening has deepened beyond the awning. The world outside is darker now, the streetlights brighter by contrast. Through the open side of the shelter, you can see the wet street reflecting those lights in long, blurred lines. A car passes slowly, tires hissing gently on the damp road. The sound is distant and muted, as if even the city has decided to quiet down. You pay, and the vendor thanks you, but the exchange feels less like a transaction and more like a small shared moment. They hand you the bouquet with both hands, as if passing something fragile and meaningful, even if it's just flowers. You accept it the same way. When you turn to leave, you don't rush. You walk slowly under the awning, bouquet held close, careful not to bump anyone. The paper brushes lightly against your coat, making a soft sound. As you pass another stall, you catch a new scent, lilies, strong and creamy, almost too intense compared to the rest, but softened by distance. At the next, it's roses, rich and slightly spicy. At the next, it's damp cardboard and soil, the practical smell of a working market. Each scent appears and fades like a gentle thought. A vendor near the edge is wiping down a table with a cloth, and the cloth leaves darker streaks of water behind that quickly blend into the table's worn surface. He hums softly to himself, not a tune you recognize, just a sound that suggests contentment or habit. Another person is counting change, coins clicking quietly, and then slipping them into a small tin. It all feels like the world putting itself away neatly, getting ready for rest. At the very end of the awning, you pause. A small drip falls from the canvas edge and lands in a puddle, making a tiny ring that expands and disappears. You watch it happen once, twice, and feel something in you mirror it. A small ripple of thought, expanding, fading, leaving quiet behind. You step out from under the shelter into the open evening. The air is cooler, and it touches your cheeks like a clean cloth. The bouquet's scent rises closer now that there's less around you to compete with it. You walk along the wet pavement, and the reflections shift with each step. Your shoes make a soft sound, not quite a splash, more a gentle tap on damp stone. As you walk, You think about where the bouquet will go. Maybe you'll bring it home to your own table. Set it in a vase you like, the one with slightly uneven glass, the one that catches light softly. Maybe you'll change the water each morning, watching the bouquet evolve day by day, noticing how the tulips lean toward the window, how the ranunculus open wider, how the freesia's scent changes as it fades. Or maybe you'll bring it to someone else. Set it down quietly. Let it be a wordless gift that says, "I was thinking of you," in a calm way. But you don't have to decide right now. Tonight, it's enough to carry it. Enough to feel its weight and smell its gentle sweetness. Enough to know you chose it slowly, with care, and that the care itself was part of the gift. A light breeze moves through the street and brushes the bouquet's paper. The paper rustles softly, and the blooms tremble just a little, as if they're nodding along. You adjust your grip, careful, comfortable. Your hand feels steady. Your breath feels steady too. Somewhere behind you, under the awning, there's another snip of shears, another soft murmur, another bucket of water receiving a fresh cut stem. The market continues its quiet closing ritual, and you're leaving it with something small and living in your hands. You take a longer route, not because you need to, but because the evening feels kind. The rain has washed the world and left it shining. The streetlights make halos on the damp ground. A window glows warmly in a building you pass, and for a moment, you can see the shape of someone moving inside, slow and domestic. A silhouette that suggests calm routines, washing a cup, turning down a lamp. You think about how flowers drink. It's such a simple thing. Water traveling up a stem, feeding petals that look like they were made purely for beauty. You imagine the bouquet in a vase later, the cut ends submerged, drawing in what they need. The thought makes you feel quietly hopeful, as if you too could take in what you need without effort, rest, warmth, gentleness, and let it travel through you until it reaches the places that feel dry. When you finally reach your door, whether it's an apartment building with a quiet stairwell or a small home with a sheltered entry, you take a moment before going in. You look down at the bouquet one more time. The colors are softer now in the dim light, but still clear. The irises are like small pockets of night. The ranunculus are like folded clouds. The tulips are like shy blush. freesia is like a whisper of sunlight. Inside, the air is warmer. The sounds are softer. You set the bouquet down on a counter and find a vase. You don't turn on bright overhead lights, you choose a small lamp, or maybe just the warm spill from a nearby room. You fill the vase with water, and the sound of the faucet is louder than you expect in the quiet, but not unpleasant. The water splashes and swirls, and then settles, smooth and reflective. You unwrap the bouquet slowly. The paper crackles gently, like a fire that has been tamed. The tissue lifts away, and the flowers seem to exhale into the room. The scent expands, becoming part of your home's air. You trim the stems again, just a little habit care, a last small refinement. Snip, snip. The shears make that clean sound, and you feel that calm satisfaction return. You place the bouquet into the vase. The stems slide into the water, and the flowers settle into their new arrangement with a soft, natural grace. You turn the vase slightly, adjusting the angle until the bouquet faces outward in a way that feels welcoming. You tuck one freesia stem so it arcs nicely. You rotate an iris so its velvet face looks up instead of away. You step back and look. There it is, not a grand display, just a quiet, lovely thing. A small piece of spring evening brought inside. You carry the vase to where you want it, maybe a bedside table, maybe a living room shelf, maybe a kitchen corner that always looks better with something alive on it. You set it down carefully. The water trembles once, then stills. The flowers hold their shapes as if content. The room feels different now, softened at the edges. You wash your hands, and the cool water running over your fingers reminds you of the buckets at the market. The tremble of water surfaces catching warm light. You dry your hands slowly, unhurried. There is nowhere else you need to be. When you finally settle on your bed, on a couch, wherever you've chosen to rest, you can still smell the bouquet faintly. It isn't overpowering. It's just there, like a gentle companion. Your breathing slows without being told. Your thoughts loosen, and any leftover tension from the day seems less important, like something far away that can wait until tomorrow. Outside, the world continues quietly. A distant car passes. Somewhere, a door closes softly. The rain is gone, and the night has taken its place, calm and steady. The flowers stand in their vase, drinking patiently, doing what living things do, accepting what they're given, opening slowly, being beautiful without trying. And you too can do something simple now. You can rest. You can let the day be finished. You can let your mind drift like a petal on still water, floating easily, going nowhere in particular, carried by quiet. If you wake later, the flowers will still be there, holding their gentle colors in the dim light. If you sleep through, they will greet you in the morning, a small reminder that softness can be chosen, that beauty can be ordinary, that even after rain, the world can feel clean and kind. For now, you can let yourself sink into comfort, as if the whole evening were an awning overhead, sheltering, warm-lit, and peaceful, while the last drops of the day fall harmlessly and disappear.